Once the opening whistle to an NFL game blows, both teams on the field have a single goal: to end that game with more points than their opponents. Some teams are better at preventing scoring, while others are better at piling the points up. A certain number of teams are way better at one of these than the other. Today, we're going to be looking at the 10 most imbalanced NFL teams during the Super Bowl era on offense. And we will be doing that the same way we always do, by using C-Score, a metric created by this channel in order to evaluate every single NFL team from the Super Bowl era beyond simply looking at its record. C-Score can also be divvied up between the offense and the defense. For a deeper explanation about how all this works, be sure to check out the description of this video. All we're doing here is taking every team's defensive C-score and subtracting it from its offensive counterpart. The higher that number, the more imbalanced that team is on the offensive side. Thank you for joining us today. We are ready to begin. And what better way to begin than with a Super Bowl champion? At number 10, we have the 2009 New Orleans Saints. This team dominated in the regular season, finishing the year at 13-3 with a plus 169 point differential. They played a top 10 schedule and still led the league in scoring. Their total C-score of 33.991 is almost all offense, pulling in a 32.7 and change. Against a defensive score of just over 1.2, their difference sits at 31.573. This Saints team scored at least 24 points in every game this season, except for the final 3 in the regular season. They lost those games, but it wasn't enough to cost them the NFC's number 1 seed. 8 different times during the regular season they scored at least 31 points. They did the same in each of their 3 playoff games as well, including in the Super Bowl when they were underdogs against the Indianapolis Colts. In doing so, the Saints, somewhat remarkably, became the first number 1 seed to defeat another number 1 seed in the Super Bowl in 16 seasons. Prior to the modern-day version of the Kansas City Chiefs was another that was known for explosive offense. That would be the 2004 team, coming in here at number 9. KC had a losing record at 7-9, but did outscore their opponents by 48 points. While they allowed the 4th most points in the league, they scored the 2nd most. Their C-score, good for a losing team, is 10.027. The offense cleared 21, while the defense dipped below -11, for a difference of 32.735. Defense was certainly a concern for this group. In 14 of their 16 games, they allowed 24 points or more. In the 2 games where they allowed fewer, the Chiefs outscored their opponents by a combined total of 105 to 27. Again, that's just over 2 games. At 7-9, they finished 3rd in the AFC West and missed out on the playoffs. By doing so while scoring 483 points, they set an NFL record for most points scored without making the playoffs. Other teams have threatened, but 20 seasons later, they still hold this unwanted record. Taking up the 8th spot is the 1981 San Diego Chargers. San Diego certainly lit up the scoreboard this season, leading the league in scoring on their way to a 10-6 record. The defense didn't hold up as well, but the Chargers were still good enough for a plus 88 point differential. They didn't have a daunting schedule, but they did land a 10.703 C-score, which splits heavily in the offense's favor. As they pushed 22, the defense dropped below -11 for a difference of 32.799. This was the Chargers' 4th straight winning season. It was their 3rd straight division title, and it was their 2nd straight AFC Championship game appearance. In keeping with progression, they could have been expected to make it to their first ever Super Bowl appearance. It didn't quite work out that way. The Air Coryell offense can be highly effective, but it's certainly better off in good weather conditions such as that provided in San Diego. Playing for that AFC Championship in a game now known as the Freezer Bowl? Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. It's these guys again. The most philanthropic team in NFL history takes our number 7 spot, the 2016 Atlanta Falcons. 11-5 is a good record, but it's supplemented by an excellent plus 134 point differential. That's because they led the league in scoring, not so much for their 6th worst performance in points allowed. They landed an overall C-score of 24.717, tilting heavily onto one side. The offense clears 29, while the defense is nearing -5. That makes for a difference of 34.071. What else can really be said about this team that hasn't already? I guess we could point out that they went 5-0 in the regular season when giving up fewer than 20 points. They had a better record on the road than they did at home. None of that matters, of course, as there are only 2 numbers that will forever define this team. One of those is 28, and the other one is 3. Philanthropy is the act of giving something away for the betterment of others. Kudos to these Falcons for having the Lombardi Trophy on a silver platter before graciously giving it away. After previously making the countdown at number 8, the San Diego Chargers are back at number 6, with their team from the very next season in 1982. It was only a 9-game season, but the Chargers still scored 288 points to lead the league. That brought them to a 6-3 finish with a point differential of plus 67. They did have a total C-score of 13.338, but their offense scored almost double that at 24.5. The defense, though, this is a number we've already crossed paths with on this countdown, worse than -11, for a gap of 35.838. No weather excuses in the playoffs for the Chargers this season. This time they lost in the divisional round in Miami instead of Cincinnati. A 9-game season isn't nearly enough time to land any NFL records, but one must believe that had the season been played to its conclusion, that San Diego would have threatened some, if not outright broken them, both as a team and individually. Wes Chandler, despite missing a game, finished the season with 1,032 receiving yards. That paces out to 1,935, which would have broken the post-merger record by 577 yards. The second half of the countdown begins at number 5 with the 2001 Indianapolis Colts. Their last season as members of the AFC East wasn't a great one, finishing 6-10 and being outscored by 73 points. Don't blame the offense though, they finished second in the league in scoring. Simultaneously, no team in the league allowed more. Their final C-score of -10.219 falls on that defense, one of the worst during the Super Bowl era, with these splits landing a difference of 37.179. Between 1999 and 2010, the Colts won at least 10 games and made the playoffs 11 out of 12 times. This season would be the black sheep. They make for a pretty easy breakdown. In a season where the average NFL team scored 20.2 points per game, the Colts were 0-10 when they failed to score more than 28 points. In their other 6 games, they scored more than 28 points and went 6-0. What a shocker. Big things were expected of Indy this season. The bacon was excellent. The eggs, not so much. We've seen the Chargers twice, now we're seeing the Chiefs twice. The 2018 unit comes in at number 4. Consistent winners over the past half-decade, KC took another step this year, going 12-4 and outscoring their opponents by 144 points. The league's highest-scoring offense led the way to a C-score of 22.427, but the defense just didn't do its part. That score of just about -7.5 didn't mesh with their offensive score of almost 30, giving us a difference of 37.449. Sorry, Chiefs fans, I must say his name, D. Ford. The sky was the limit with this team as they finally broke the divisional round barrier and got to host the AFC Championship game. They did so by scoring at least 26 points in every game of the season, playoffs included. One of their losses came when they scored 40 points. Another one came when they scored 51. And they had just put the wraps on the AFC Championship. or so they thought. They're not the philanthropists that the 2016 Falcons are, but they had surely taken copious notes. Is this the San Diego Chargers, or is it the San Diego Red Raiders? At number 3, fittingly making their third appearance, are the 1985 San Diego Red Chargers. Except this team isn't as good as the ones we've already seen, going 8-8, albeit with a positive point differential of 32. It's the usual, lead the league in scoring, near the bottom in points allowed. They managed a positive C-score of 2.08 with swings that would make Cesaro jealous. Nearly 20 versus nearly negative 18 lands a difference of 37.89. While quarterbacks are always given way too much credit for team success, I think it is safe to say that few QBs have had the kind of situations faced by Dan Fouts. Nearly perennially saddled with a terrible defense, there's only so much that an aerial show can provide. In half their games this season, San Diego allowed over 30 points. In 3 of those games, they allowed over 40 points, 2 of which the Chargers actually won. That wasn't enough to get them off the mat though, and they missed the playoffs for the second of what would eventually become 9 consecutive seasons. This is now our third team that made it to the Super Bowl. At number 2 are the 2013 Denver Broncos. 11 seasons after this one, they still hold the NFL record with 606 points scored in a single season, leading the way to a 13-3 record and a plus 207 point differential. This while finishing only 22nd in fewest points allowed. That C-score of 25.956 leaves a lot on the table based on that offensive C-score of over 32. The defense though, negative 6.2. That's a difference of 38.356. These Broncos were particularly strong at home. They went 7-1 during the regular season, with their only blemish a clunker against the Chargers where they only scored 20 points. Still just 3 points lower than the league average that they inflated. Even counting that game, they averaged 39.5 points per game in the mile-high air. The playoffs weren't quite as rosy though, even with a couple of wins leading to that appearance in Super Bowl 48. But for the past 4 seasons, NFL teams have had an extra game to try and break their scoring record. Nobody's gotten within 40 points of it. I don't think our number 1 entry is gonna raise a whole lot of eyebrows. Taking this spot are the 2000 St. Louis Rams. They were the best at scoring, the best at not preventing scoring. They managed a 10-6 record and a positive 69 point differential, landing a C-score of 7.762. But the manner in which they achieved it is unlike anything we have ever seen before. The offense pushed a 31, the defense was under negative 23. For a difference that positively blows the competition away at 54.092. The Rams won the Super Bowl in the season before and made it back again the season after. Yet, by both C-score and by points scored, this was the best offense of the bunch. That defense, though, had enough holes to build about 14 golf courses. Only 2 teams have had a combined 1,000 points scored in their games over the course of a single season, the aforementioned 2013 Broncos and the 2000 Rams. And the Rams still beat them out, despite the league on average providing about 5.5 points fewer per game. They still hold the NFL record for most points allowed by both a playoff team and a winning team. It's a good thing they could still score in bunches. Looking at the top 10 as a whole shows us pretty clearly that the second place Broncos are closer to 10th place than they are to first by raw C-score. But going even further, they're closer to 37th place as well. The 2000 Rams were a true outlier. 60% of this list is made up of teams from the AFC West, led by the Chargers making 3 appearances, matching the 3 appearances made by the Buccaneers on the imbalanced defense list. Speaking of that list, the Falcons are the only franchise to show up on both, 7th on this one and 1st on the other one. If not for the Chargers, every single team here would be from the 2000 season onward, showing us just how much the NFL has changed. Thank you so much for making it to nearly the end of this video. If you liked it, show the love by hitting that thumbs up button. Don't be shy about sharing it around, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ding that bell to be notified every time we release something new. Let me know what you think about all of this. I truly believe that no team will ever approach the kind of imbalance achieved by the 2000 Rams, but there could be some jockeying for second place sometime in the future. Do you think any team this season can make the top 10? Were you surprised by any team that did make it? Surprised by a team that didn't make it? Sound off on these topics or anything else you may have on your mind in the comments section below. Thank you once again for joining us today, and until next time, I hope you have an awesome day.